Bitcoin saw a massive pump to the upside, all the way up to the $30,000 level coming off these lows, and yet again proving what I was mentioning to you guys, that, you know, when the price is dipping down, we don't have to get worried, because we are quite likely actually looking at old areas of resistance, and we were finding resistance around here previously, turning into new areas of support before the price can rally on higher. And I know that a lot of people were starting to get a little bit bearish because of this, and even myself included. I mean, it wasn't necessarily getting bearish, but I certainly wasn't loving this because we lost this trend line here. But the key thing I was reminding you guys about, that I've said so many times in this market, is that if we're not sweeping these prior lows, you really don't have too much to worry about, or at least I don't have too much to worry about. And we can see this coming into fruition, actually materializing in the market. And obviously, you may already know by now, if you've been keeping up with the news, that this is not organic price action. What actually happened here was extreme, obvious manipulation of the market, where we actually had a Cointelegraph intern or whatever, I don't really know what was actually happening, posting some beautiful fake news here, basically saying that the ETF from BlackRock was approved. And what we saw was quite colossal. I mean, you know, if we take a look at this on a very short-term time frame right here on the 1 minute time frame, I mean, just look at this massive pump. I mean, it was just within 5 minutes, we were up by 7%, absolutely ridiculous, down almost as quickly as well, because obviously the news turned out to be fake. BlackRock came out and actually said, no, this is not true. And then they, Eric, I don't know who this guy is, probably some high up position in BlackRock. I should probably know, but I don't. Frankly, it doesn't matter. It isn't true. Someone spreads false info. Looks like Cointelegraph care to say why you heard this or where you heard this, you know, and then Cointelegraph actually took it down. So, you know, what I think is really interesting, before we dive into the analysis and we start talking about, you know, how high can Bitcoin go? Is this actually bearish? Because there's some really important discussions to be had about this. The first thing I want to point out, in terms of, you know, just in the in the energy of just being fair and transparent, is that you know, a lot of people don't like the SEC and other kind of three-letter government agencies, and I totally understand why. Trust me, I'm like, you know, the first guy that's going to step in line and say, yeah, I don't like them too. But you know, they have a point. One of the key reasons that they said they haven't approved any of these spot ETFs yet is because they weren't confident that they could protect the people submitting these ETF applications could protect their investors from the market manipulation in crypto. And I mean, this is just, it's honestly a fucking meme, really. Like, it's a bit of a meme at this point, that like the actual news of you know, like the fake news of an ETF being approved is what resulted in massive market manipulation. You know, like it couldn't be more crypto than this. You know, and I really think that says a lot. It's so obvious. This is what the crypto space has been and clearly still is, where it's just an absolute shit show of complete degeneracy. You know, we're seeing that right here. But what I will mention is that this was within 5 minutes of the article going up, obviously. You know, we saw such a massive move to the upside. And I think that could potentially tell us a little bit about just the kind of energy that could follow through if the ETF does actually get approved. Now, that said, that's, you know, I think a lot of people think it's inevitable, myself included. However, I mean, it could still take a good amount of time to get there, weeks, months, maybe even much longer than that. I don't know. You know, but, you know, what I think is really interesting and what I actually really like about all of this is that, yes, okay, it was fake news, but I mean, we are still very high. You know, I mean, just these last 1 or 2 days of just really today, earlier, you know, has been good price action. Even after this news has been debunked, Bitcoin is still trying to get a little bit higher. So, you know, there's something to talk about with that in mind. And, you know, I think another interesting chart perspective is actually quite a bearish one. If we take a look at this chart right here, you know, what we have done now for a third time is managed to get a macro rejection off our macro resistance level. So we know that the $30,000 level is an incredibly strong area of resistance, and we've already seen 2 strong rejections off this level. I mean, if we kind of go back and look at the strength of these rejections from this high down to the low, it was a 20% drop. From this high down to the low, it was slightly more than that, at about 21%. You know, and now we've seen another drop, which so far takes us down by about 5%. And I think that's really interesting, because it does show that we have now got this potential, and this is what a lot of people are saying, is that we have potentially got some sort of kind of bearish posture in the market, right, where we've been rejected at a high level. So, you know, naturally you might expect that we go down, and I agree with that. I do think that that is something which could play on the market, or at least I kind of did agree with it until I looked at this 1 hour chart and I was like, well, hang on a minute, everyone knows that this was fake news, yet it just doesn't seem to matter. Bitcoin is not selling off aggressively, which is what you would expect, right? I mean, we did sell off aggressively immediately afterwards, and you can see that right here. But I mean, you know, after that, I mean, we're kind of just clamoring on a little bit higher here, which is absolutely fantastic. And, so we talk about this rejection wick. Well, the first thing I want to say is that we are looking at this on the weekly candle. And I mean, look, let's just be real for a second. Like, just get off your fucking high horse, mate. It's 6 days until this weekly candle ends. Okay, today's a Monday. So let's not be unreasonable and emotional and kind of jump the gun on this. This is a weekly candle and the week has only just started. I mean, this is the worst possible time to analyze the weekly candle. I'm kind of surprised that big names are even doing this, but there you go. It is happening. Obviously, it's incredibly easy to mislead people in crypto. We're not going to talk about that. On the daily candle here, I mean, look, this is an ugly daily candle, and we can definitely start talking about the daily candle because we've got, like 5.5 hours left until this daily candle closes. So this is definitely, not the best daily candle. Again, a very, very strong rejection. But here's the perspective that you might not have thought of, right? One of the things I've been telling you guys about is that these levels, like $30,000, they're incredibly strong, right? So you've got to test them, generally speaking. You've got to test them quite a few times before you actually get that breakout. And so far, like I said, we had 2 of these macro rejections, but today we got number 3. So if we're talking about like how many rejections are required to allow Bitcoin to, then finally break through that resistance level, well, the more the better, right? I mean, the more rejections we get, you could argue the closer we are to breaking that resistance level. And that is certainly a stance that I'm happy to take. That is certainly a stance that I would be confident in taking in this market, which is not to say that right now or this week or this month even or next month or whatever. I'm not even putting a time frame on this because quite frankly, you can't. But just generally speaking, I'm quite happy to say that we've now gotten our 3rd macro rejection off this resistance level. And, I mean, the more we have, like I said, the more likely, at least with my analysis, with any basic forms of technical analysis, something very basic that you learn very early on if you've studied technical analysis in any proper way, is that the more rejections you get, the more likely you are to break them. So I think this might actually go in Bitcoin's favor. Now here's something else that I thought was really interesting is the daily Ichimoku cloud. We're actually above it right now, and I think this does change depending on your chart. I mean, if we take a look at this on Coinbase right here, it is ever so slightly higher by the looks of it, but for the most part, we are just, I mean, the top of this resistance cloud sits at about $28,000, a little bit higher than that, 28.3, and we are just kind of a little bit higher than that right now, which is absolutely great. I mean, if we're able to close our daily candle above the 28K level, then that does mean quite a few significant things. I mean, the first key thing that would represent for the market is that we have broken above this, I don't want to say like kind of a micro area of resistance on this chart where, previously we were really struggling at this level, especially, throughout the course of this entire month so far, but we have now just rocketed higher. And again, I mean, we already know that this is fake news now, yet the price is not dumping back down to where it started. So that's absolutely fantastic. So if we are able to hold this 28K level, perhaps we, do something a little bit like this and come back down, that's going to put Bitcoin, I think, potentially in quite a good position. On the 1 hour time frame, we have some nice Ichimoku support around the mid to low $28,000 level. And on the 4 hour time frame, if we extend this box even further, it's exactly where my box has already been drawn. I'm not doing anything with these boxes. I'm only extending them so that you can see how they look in the future. But the box stays exactly the same, representing the exact same levels, basically stretching between $28,000 and 28. What am I saying here? Yeah, basically, 28,000. It's a pretty tight box, actually. 28 and 28.1, more or less, kind of. So if we're kind of able to, like I said, fuck around a little bit, come down to find out, and then just blast off, I mean, that would be absolutely beautiful for Bitcoin. It's a very nice setup right now. Definitely not something that I would brush off or act like it's impossible. And like I said, on the daily time frame, we are also showing that, we're just not too worried about these areas of resistance right now. It doesn't seem like it's being, particularly heavy kind of driving force on the market right now, which I think is a very good sign, definitely showing us that, we could be kind of getting ready to overcome some of this resistance. And if we kind of bring it back to the ETF news and the reason that this stuff could be really important, I have actually made this video for you guys towards the beginning of this month, where I was just really breaking down the ETF. I mean, this is a 40-minute video. We were talking about what's happened so far, what might happen next, and kind of explaining what the different parties involved in this process are looking at. If you want to check it out, just go back to the YouTube channel and you're going to see it. I haven't posted that many videos this month, so it's pretty easy to find. 40-minute video, very, very deep dive. You guys love this kind of content, and I love putting it out. I love going really deep on this kind of thing, especially because you guys meet me in person, you start asking me about the market, and look, I don't mind talking about it, but if you've met me in person and we're talking about it, you ask me a simple question and I'm going on a long fucking answer. The thing is that I'm extremely thorough with the way I analyze these markets. position my own capital in them. Why would I not be thorough? And I love to have these kind of discussions with you guys. I love doing it in person, and of course I love doing it on YouTube, potentially even more, because I get to talk to way more of you guys. So if you want to check it out, go ahead and check that out with a link in the description. By checking out the YouTube channel. And of course, we've got beautiful bonuses available for you as well. Bybit is going to give you up to $30,000 in completely free trading capital, which is free money that you can deploy back into the market. Any profits that you generate with that cash are yours to keep, which is absolutely fantastic. And all you've got to do to get that is just start trading using my link down below. So deposit, start trading, and you're going to get that credited into your account. You also are going to be paying 0% spot fees when you're trading the spot market. So if you want to buy, sell shitcoins to your heart's desire, you can do that without ever paying fees, which is absolutely fantastic. And of course, we've also got 𝗙𝗢𝗥𝗙𝗟𝗏 here, which is going to be giving you a $50 free trading bonus when you sign up using my link down below. So this is really cool because you don't need to make a deposit. You don't need to do anything at all. This is just free money that they're going to give you when you sign up using my link down below and open your futures account. So definitely do check that out. And BingX, access to traditional finance markets. Super, super cool offer. Very unique. Well worth checking out. Definitely make use of that if you are interested. But bringing it back here to the Bitcoin chart, I think that one of the interesting things that we've actually seen developing on this chart right now is this kind of breakout that we've seen here on the midterm, kind of from the beginning of October down to now. We've had this kind of short to midterm descending channel, which are, these are typically bullish patterns. We've seen a really nice breakout out of that. So, that's a really, really good sign. But actually, if we zoom out a little bit further, we've also got this 100-day downtrend that Bitcoin has been in since July. So, we're going back quite far now in this year. That was like, what, 3 months ago. Definitely a sizable amount of time for this market. We've now seen a breakout out of this range as well, which is absolutely fantastic and a very, very good sign. Now, again, this is due to manipulation. So how much can you trust it? I don't really know, and I don't want to answer that question for you. The answer for me is I don't trust it massively, but at the same time, I'm mindful that absolutely everybody and their grandmother now knows that, especially if you bought Bitcoin because of the ETF news, you now know that that news was fake. So why hasn't the price retraced back down to where it started? Do you know what I mean? Like, I think that there is something here that's worth paying attention to, but of course, we need to identify an invalidation zone, right? Like, at what point is this just going to be wrong? And I think it's if we lose this 28K level. I think that the 28K level is the most important level on this chart just for the minute, especially because of the way that we pumped up above it in a very, kind of dishonest way. If we are going to lose this 28K level, then I think that would be, the key sign right here. If we kind of, just fumble the bag and drop back down, this will be, a bad sign for the market, especially with that rejection. That would probably be your sign that, we are going to be coming back down. And it's very much in line with the main overarching analysis I've given you guys for a very long time. The analysis that makes me very unpopular, but of course, it's 100% correct, because of the fact that it makes me unpopular, is that we're quite likely, I think, and I've been saying this since the very beginning, to, do something a little bit like this. And this chart, the BLX chart, has not updated yet, so it's perhaps a little bit too early to talk about this. On other charts it has updated, so it's fine. I do think that we are looking at a potential situation here where we could be traveling to the top of this range, getting ready to get that rejection. This is what's already happened today. It's just happened like a bit of a rocket ship, and then of course, like I said, if we slip below that 28K level, we might have to kind of revisit this area range sideways, and then perhaps it's the next attempt, which could happen next year. I don't even know. It could happen. It could be slow, it could be quick. Anyone that even tries to speculate on this kind of thing, I think I would say is fooling you and themselves for sure. So just be very wary of people that have within 2 weeks this is gonna happen, or within fucking 6 days, or by December. If you're trying to, it's the most foolish bottom level of analysis that I can possibly imagine. Where someone's putting specific time frames to analysis, unless you're doing actual time-based analysis, and that is very useful. That is actually fairly accurate. In my experience. But if you're just kind of coming out here and you're like, based off this macroeconomic factor, probably, this is going to happen by this date, shut the fuck up. You have no idea what you're talking about. Don't even bother, if someone's talking to you like that. But, so it's very hard to say. Nobody expected that Bitcoin within one day would just spike up to $30,000. You know what I mean? So, you know, I'm just not really feeling that. And I feel like you didn't even see that chart. So let me just show you what I was talking about. I'm not sure if I was, if my face cam was maximized that whole time, but I was basically talking about this, right? And actually, you know, this chart hasn't updated, so we just went straight up like that. Maybe we come back down, something a little bit like this. I have no idea. Like I said, it doesn't really matter. But, you know, I think that's one of the key things that we could potentially be looking at in this market here for, you know, for our kind of immediate next, you know, midterm kind of trend. The other thing that I think is really interesting and worth pointing out is that we are still in an ascending channel. Now, see, previously when we pumped up off the 25K level, it was a pretty quick rally. I mean, it happened within the space of just a matter of days. This has been weeks, if not, you know, kind of bleeding on into months now, you know, where we've been slowly trending up from that 25K level up to now the 30K level today. So this has formed an ascending channel, and we are still in the ascending channel. So that is not ideal. Now, granted, I'm not hugely worried about that. If Bitcoin can stay above 28K, then I think that is going to be more important than this ascending channel. You know, but again, if we do start losing this ascending channel now, you know, you can definitely make a good argument that we're going to have to revisit these lows. But again, the lows are the same, you know, it's the same price level we've already been talking about right here at 25.8, 25K, whatever the case may be. You know, we've just extrapolated this target, you know, this range spans 6%, you know, so the potential target to the downside, I know you can't see it, but it says 6% down here. So, you know, potentially something a little bit similar, you know, just worth keeping an eye on, you know, just something to point out. And of course, you know, we bring it back to the 30K level. I mean, you know, this is a pretty active attempt at the Ichimoku cloud that we've got here on the weekly time frame. Now, granted, weekly Ichimoku clouds are still pretty strong. They can actually have effects on the market for a very long period of time. This was, what I'm guessing, like February, March of 2022, you know, and we only managed to break it like 5 months later. So, even January, February, that's what I meant to say, of 2022. So, you know, I mean, this level, you know, this Ichimoku cloud just in the last one was pretty useful, lasted a very, very long time. You know, this Ichimoku cloud we've tested for about the same time, potentially even more at this stage, you know, and it's looking pretty active. So, I mean, if there's any time where we kind of are trying, it's right now. But are the odds stacked against us right now? Yes, I would say that the odds are still stacked against us. I would say that we are still, you know, not in an ideal position, to be honest. I mean, definitely not where I would want to be seeing the market. By the way, guys, I do just want to jump in here and apologize for the audio. I know you've been putting up with it for 16 minutes, so thank you so much. Do me a favor and smash up the likes if you have enjoyed this video so far. I've just moved into a new office, and the soundproofing here is fucking dog shit. It is absolutely appalling. It's the worst soundproofing I've ever experienced in my life, and unfortunately I just haven't been able to sort this out yet. There's been a lot going on in my personal life, but yeah, I think that this should be ready kind of by tomorrow. I just need to get a bunch of acoustic foam, just get rid of the echo. I feel like I'm in a literal echo chamber right now. But by the way, check this out. This is the 100,000 subscriber plaque. Focus. There we go. Look at that. That is beautiful. Yeah. So I got this from YouTube. I got this a long time ago, actually, like maybe an entire year ago. I don't even know. But I've never shown it to you guys. So thank you for all the love. Fucking love you guys. Thank you so much. If you haven't already, definitely make sure that you do subscribe. That is super cool. That was one of my dreams as a kid. So I'm super happy with that. I don't know if a guy like me can hit the million, because I'm way too honest and realistic as a crypto trader to hit such high numbers. That kind of, you know, that kind of thing, that kind of big number, you're generally not going to hit if you're super honest. But there are people like Benjamin Cowan who are super legit and also very, very big. So, yeah, you never know. We'll see where it goes. But your support is obviously the only thing that drives this forward. So thank you all very, very much. Let's take a quick look at the S&P 500. It's been another green day for the S&P 500. A very nice bit of price action here, actually, because what we've seen here, and by the way, this S&P 500 market closes very soon. So it's a fairly decent representation of what we're looking at for today's candle. You know, what we had was this kind of fake out is what it looks like now to the downside, followed by a nice recovery back above our resistance level, you know, and now potentially flipping it for support. So if there's any setup that's bullish for the S&P 500, I mean, it's similar to Bitcoin, right? Like when you've tested the high, now you know that you're probably clear to go down to the lows. But with the S&P 500 here, what we've done is we've tested the lows, so we know, and especially because it kind of seems like a bit of a fake out. Now, this is, you know, it's still too early to say. We could just bear flag here and then, you know, back down, right? I mean, it's too early to say. But you know, if we are looking at something similar, just in terms of characteristics, in terms of the kind of message that the market is showing us, you know, we've now kind of tested that downside, and we've now recovered back up, or even getting that kiss of life off that old area of resistance, turning into a new area of support. Well, you know, that could be a really strong sign that a big rocket ship for the S&P 500 is incoming as well. So that's well worth checking out, just something to keep an eye on. Another thing to keep an eye on is gold. You guys have heard me talking about gold intermittently on this YouTube channel. It's looking absolutely bloody glorious. It looks really, really good right now. It's dipped down into one of the buy zones that I outlined for you guys a long time ago. I haven't really spoken about gold very much, but this has been a brilliant buy zone for gold basically since the last 3 years. Yes, we have seen lower prices than this, but I mean, still, it's a phenomenal. I mean, gold consistently is hitting this high. It's the most obvious trade that I can see right now, to pick up some gold. I've already bought some gold myself, and I want to buy a lot more. It's kind of the only thing I would do to dilute my Bitcoin investments is just buy gold. I feel like this is like one of the easiest guaranteed profits that I'm going to be making in the next year or so, or whenever it ends up breaking out, if of course it does, because nothing is guaranteed. This does look very, very nice to me indeed. And like I said, BingX actually allows you to trade traditional finance markets, so that includes gold. You can actually buy commodities like gold and silver and crude oil and so on, which is really, really cool. All just with a Bitcoin deposit. So extremely, extremely useful exchange if you want to check out the other kind of traditional finance markets that we typically don't have access to. This is super, super cool as an opportunity. And of course, you're getting over $100,000 in bonuses, which is super cool. Now, obviously, I have to add in, like if you're in any country that doesn't allow these exchanges, if you're not allowed to use these, if your country's just restricted them for whatever reason, you can't use any of these links here. They're just going to block you. You won't even be allowed to begin with. But if you are in a country that's allowed, then check it out, because you're getting nearly $200,000 in bonuses in total when you follow all of these links, which is absolutely fantastic. It's kind of crazy that Bybit is the lowest bonus that I have in the description right now. Still the best exchange in the space as far as I'm concerned, but you've got some phenomenal alternatives here as well. BingX for me, I love it, but it's more of a commodities, indices, stocks type thing. You can trade Tesla and Apple and so on. So I'm not doing much crypto trading here, but CoinW, another phenomenal option. I've actually met the founder, which is super cool. Bybit, obviously, you guys have seen me hanging out with 𝗀𝗢𝗓, the founder of Bybit as well. Super cool guy, very funny, loves to party, love that guy. So check it all out with the links in the description if you are interested. And I do want to take a look at Ethereum. I want to start off with the dollar chart right here. Obviously, Ethereum, like all the other altcoins, are not performing particularly well compared to Bitcoin, which is absolutely fantastic. That's what we want to see. We want to see that rush coming into Bitcoin first. It's very, very healthy. Tron has done amazingly. I'm still in that Tron position. It's printing fucking cash for me. I'm super, super happy with it. You've already seen me pull a beautiful profit on with Bitcoin. I'm still in this position too. I'm still in a higher profit than this screenshot. Standard procedure. You already know the deal. That's nothing unusual for us right here on the 𝗬𝗙𝗧 channel. But if we do bring it back to Ethereum here, we have seen a little bit of weakness, I'll be honest with you guys. And on the Ethereum Bitcoin chart, I mean, it is just continuing to get absolutely fucking hammered, guys. Just destruction here on the Ethereum chart within 1 day, down by 5% against Bitcoin. So just absolute obliteration here. One of my favorite things to do as a crypto trader, because I like to take, first of all, I like to make money. This is very clear. You guys can tell that. But second of all, I like to make a lot of money, and I like to do it fairly easily. So I don't want to complicate my life. I don't want to do any bullshit. One of the most successful strategies I've actually found in the crypto space is just buying Ethereum with my Bitcoin and then playing the flips. And it does take time. It's not necessarily a quick trade, but it's just so easy. And I feel like Ethereum is kind of approaching one of these key levels right now. Now, granted, it's actually broken down. So, depending on how you look at this, this is actually incredibly bearish. But, it's when people are very bearish, it's when people don't really believe what's going on, that I'm kind of ready to step in and be like, yo, what's up? There's some money for me here. We take a look at the 𝗬𝗙𝗧 dashboard here. Fear and greed index still sitting steady at 47. This is probably going to tick up a little bit, but I don't feel like we're as high as we could have been. I feel like we could have been a little bit higher than this by now. So I think that is a good sign. We've got way too many longs here on Binance Retail. So, unfortunately, that is still something that we're up against. But like I said, I don't think this data is updated yet either, because, all of this 𝗬𝗙𝗏 stuff happened very, very recently, just in the last year. I was actually in the gym when I saw this. I was like, fuck's sakes. Always happens when I'm too busy. But that's a good thing, to be honest. You don't want to sit around and watch the price action while it happens, because you're so likely to overreact and do something emotional and do something stupid. So, let's just do keep that in mind. But like I said, back to Ethereum here. I feel like this is one of the interesting kind of buy areas that could be worth considering. Definitely for me, I'm just not as bearish as most people are. You guys have known this for a while. I haven't been bearish since we were down at $17,000. So, fuck me. I just like to be bullish. When the price is going to go up, I like to be bullish. And when the price is going to be down, I can't speak. When the price is going to go down, I like to be bearish. It's just the way I like to do things. I like making money. And that clearly shows in my results. And so that's why I'm interested in Ethereum. And, if it does something a little bit like like this. I mean, this was a gargantuan 72% increase within 3 months for Ethereum against Bitcoin here. I mean, that's you're basically, if you're buying the bottom, selling the top, which is never going to happen realistically. But even if you kind of get in over here, get out over here, you're still making 30%. That's a 30% increase on my Bitcoin holdings if I play that kind of swing. Not saying that will happen, but of course if it does, it certainly looks quite interesting to me. So this is something that I want to keep a close eye on. I think all of these altcoins being down is not going to be a permanent state. Obviously, a lot of altcoins are going to suffer for a very long time. Bitcoin dominance is just at an absolute high right now. We haven't actually risen this high in terms of Bitcoin dominance, for the last 900 days. We haven't been this high. This is going back to April of 2021. So that was like the first time Bitcoin's hit its all-time highs around 60K, if I'm not mistaken, maybe a little bit after that, but all the same thing, really. It's been a very, very long time since Bitcoin has been this dominant in the market. But I don't know if that's going to stay. And while Bitcoin's dominance is going up, and while altcoin holders are just absolutely having the worst time of their fucking lives, this is where I want to step in and potentially start buying up some of that blood, start buying up some of that fear. I don't know if we're there yet, but you have clearly seen me start to talk about that a little bit more across these YouTube videos recently. And the reason that I'm talking about it a little bit more is because I think that, there could be something here that could actually be quite interesting. So really a good setup in the market right now. I'm not as worried as other people are. I've seen a lot of very bearish sentiment because of this kind of fake ETF news. But again, the question I pose to you is, first of all, how bad is an additional rejection at the 30K level? Like, how bad is that really? You could certainly make an argument that this means we have to revisit the lows, and that's okay because we've been ranging sideways anyway. It's kind of what we want. It's the best thing that Bitcoin could do anyway. Another rejection, in my view, just brings us one step closer to the final breakout. And at the same time, since everybody has found out that this is fake news, we're still holding quite high. So, if anything, could we make an argument that just a lot of shorts that have been holding this market down have now been liquidated? There has been some kind of speculation that when this Cointelegraph article went out, falsely stating that the BlackRock ETF was approved, that actually Cointelegraph on Rollbit or somewhere actually went long and made like $2.5 million. Maybe the intern, I don't know, it doesn't matter. Could be fake news, maybe not, doesn't really matter. I think it's fair to say that somebody profited off this massive wick. I mean, it was a hell of a trade, and if you posted the fake news knowing it was fake news, who's to say that you're also not slimy enough, who's to say you're not slimy enough also to put a long on the back of it as well, which is just abhorrent insider trading. I mean, it's like the most like heinous crime you could commit in financial markets, as far as I know, in terms of fucking around with trading. You try and pull this shit in the US stock market, for example, you'll be behind bars for a very long time. But crypto clearly, and just like I said towards the beginning of the video, like the SEC, I don't care what you think about them, I don't care what I think about them. I knew, and it's very clear now, if you didn't believe me back then, when they were saying this, that that they didn't approve these ETFs because they kind of didn't think that these people would be able to protect traders and investors from market manipulation. I think that makes it's just, like I said, it's so poetic that their concerns are proven correct based off manipulation, just off the ETF even being approved in the first. It's really funny. It's very crypto. It's really sad in a sense. These kind of things do slow us down. I don't want to read too much into it. I don't think it's particularly relevant, but what I like to see is just what is the overall story that the chart is telling me, and it is still, at a very, very good level. Honestly, overall, it doesn't really, especially when you kind of look forward a few weeks. Do you remember what caused this spike right here, or even this spike right here at the beginning of October? I can nearly guarantee you that you don't. You can let me know in the comment section if you're the one smart ass that does know what happened on these two pumps here, the news or whatever. But most of you won't remember, and that kind of really proves my point. We go forward a couple days, couple weeks, no one's going to remember what caused this wick. Actually, this was a big one, so maybe a few people will remember. But for the most part, this kind of market manipulation doesn't matter hugely, and what really matters is the chart that it leaves behind. At least to me, in my perspective, with all of my 6.5 years of experience in this market, those are the kind of conclusions that I've come to here. And so that's the kind of thing that I'm going to be watching out for. That's the kind of thing that I'm very interested in seeing and watching play out, and I think that, as long as we're not doing something particularly horrible off this level, we are in a stronger position today than we were in yesterday. That's the bottom line that I'm seeing right here. If we're able to get above this 28.6K area of resistance that I've had drawn for a very long time, especially with a daily close, that would be very, very strong. We've already kind of, like I said, gotten above that daily Ichimoku cloud at a very bad time, by the way. Bitcoin, didn't have the best opportunity to break through it today, yet it still did. So So, that's also interesting. Obviously, it was very useful as resistance for the last 2 rejections. Very useful. I mean, if you were trading based off this, it would have done quite well. Even the 200-day moving average, I mean, just smack bang right here, getting these rejections on for Bitcoin. So obvious. I mean, it's just absolutely beautiful the way these very simple indicators work. Granted, okay, the 𝗬𝗢𝗥𝗙𝗦 is not that simple, but the 200-day moving average is like the simplest indicator you could possibly find, like ever. Maybe the RSI is the simplest, but this will be number 2. It's a good setup. I'm not too worried about where Bitcoin is. I'm going to keep on watching it. I'm going to keep on giving you guys updates on what I'm seeing. But with that, guys, I really hope you have enjoyed this one. If you have, you know exactly what to do. Check out this ETF video if you haven't had a chance to yet. It's 40 minutes. Slap it on in the background or watch it if you want to see the actual news articles that we're reading in this video as well. It's a very deep dive. It's still entertaining. Don't worry, you're going to enjoy it. And of course, you've got amazing offers available in the description down below. So if your countries allow it, if it's not illegal in your country, then go ahead and check it out. You're getting nearly $200,000 in bonuses, which is super cool. Bybit giving you up to 30K just when you start trading using my link down below, which is amazing. And CoinW giving you a free $50 trading bonus that is $50 credited into your account for free without doing anything. You don't even have to deposit. You don't have to do shit. Just make your account, open your futures account on CoinW. Super, super easy, very, very quick. And they will give you that $50 for free that you can trade with. So make it a challenge if you like. I don't know. I don't care. I just want you to take the free money where you can because it costs you nothing. And it is a great opportunity. So go ahead and check all that stuff out if you are interested. With that, guys, I am going to see you all in the next one. Smash up the like, subscribe, hit the bell, all the good stuff. And I'll see you all in the next one. Cheers.